Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mr. N's Library class. Hope you guys had a great week. But as you guys know, what is it time for? It is time for teaching and learning. All right. All right, guys, before we get started, let me tell you guys what we'll be doing for the next couple of weeks, okay? As promised from the last lesson last week, remember Mr. N said we'll be starting a new book reading? Yes, okay. The book that I chose for us to read and focus on for the next couple of weeks is Curious George. Okay. Have you guys heard of Curious George before? Some of you guys may have. Some of you guys may have watched the TV shows, read a couple of books on Curious George. But the real question is, do you guys really know who Curious George is? Do you guys really know? So guess what? We'll get to know him very, very well for the next couple of weeks, okay? Let me tell you guys a little bit about Curious George, all right? So, this is the first book. This book that we're reading right now is the first book, okay? The first book in the Curious George series. And it tells the story of an orphaned monkey named George and his adventures with the man with the yellow hat. Okay, so Curious George was an orphan. Okay, but you guys are gonna get to see all the adventures that he had to go through. Okay, and he did it with one person next to him, the man with the yellow hat. All right. So before we get started on this book, let me show you guys two things quickly. All right. The first thing I'm gonna show you guys is how. So every single time we read this book, guys, every week we're gonna read a new book with Curious George. Every time we read, I want you guys to complete this worksheet, okay? This is what I want you guys to do. When you go to your assignment page and you click on your class, you remember you go to assignment, right? You guys usually go to assignment and you will see the worksheet right here. I want you guys to click on these three dots. You guys see these three dots right here? Click on these three dots and I'm going to show you guys how to type online. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to type online. Some people had issues typing online last week. I fixed it so you guys could type online now. Okay, so you click on this three dot and you go to Open in Word Online. You see it? Open in Word Online. Once you click on it, as you guys can see, it gives you the option to type your answers online. Okay, so you get to type it online. Remember, as you type, it's saving it on its own. You guys see that? So every time you type, it saves it for you. So you don't have to do no saving on your end. It saves it for you. And once you're done typing in your answers and you answer all the questions you need to answer, you could just exit out. Okay? Some people may save it on a computer, right? Just in case anything happens. Okay? You don't have to save it, but if you want to, you definitely should. But it do save it for you. Okay? Once you type it in, you type all your answers in, you exit out, and you hit turn in, and you're good to go. All right? You guys got it? I think you guys got it. All right, guys. One more thing I want to show you. Let me show you guys what we'll be doing after we are done reading a book. So the last day of school, guess what I got planned for you guys? The same thing we're doing in the classroom, right? We'll read a book and watch the movie of the book. We're doing the exact same thing online, okay? So let me show you guys a little preview, a little trailer of what we'll be watching later. Are you guys ready? I'm going to show you guys a quick sneak preview.
In all of the jungle, no creature is as curious as George. If there's a laugh, he's up for it. If there's trouble, he's behind it. And if there's a chance for adventure,
Can I have my hat, please?
he's into it.
Peekaboo. Oh, boo. This was fun. I gotta go.
But George is about to discover just how far curiosity can take him.
All right, guys, that's all I could show you, okay? Just a preview of what we'll be watching at the end. Remember, last week of school, that's what we'll be watching, guys, okay? After we're done reading the series of the book. Are you guys ready to read this first book? I think I'm ready. All right, let's read. Follow me, guys, as I read, okay? All right. The name of this book is called Curious George. Curious George is the title of the book, okay? Remember, I'm saying this, guys. The title is what now? Curious George. And who is the author? H.A. Rey. That is the author. The author is the person that writes the book, okay? So the title of the book is Curious George. Remember that because you might need it on your worksheet, right? And the author is H.A. Rey. All right. Let's keep going. All right, let's read the first page. It says, "This is George. He lived in Africa. He was a good little monkey and always very curious." So this is, everybody say hi, George. This is George right here, guys. Remember, where did he live? In Africa, okay? He lived in Africa. One day, George saw a man. He had on a large yellow straw hat. The man saw George too. What a nice little monkey, he thought. I would like to take him home with me. He put his hat on the ground, and of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree to look at the large yellow hat. You guys see the man? I think he's setting them up, right? He put the hat there so George could go over it. Let's see what's going to happen after he set the hat on the floor. The hat had been on the man's head. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head, so he picked it up and put it on. What do you guys think is going to happen after he put this hat on? Who's going to take a wild guess? Let's see if you guys are correct. The hat covered George's head. He couldn't see. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into a bag. George was caught. Uh-oh. George is caught, guys. Does he look happy or scared? What does he look like, guys? Happy or scared? He looks very scared, right? He looks very nervous. Let's see what's going to happen. The man with the big yellow hat put George into a little boat, and a sailor rowed them both across the water to a big ship. George was sad, but he was still a little curious. Guys, George don't look sad to me in this picture, right? He looked like he's happy to see those fishes on the water, right? But guess what, guys? He was very sad, okay? But while he was sad, he was also curious to see where this man was taking him. On the big ship, things began to happen. The man took off the bag. George sat on a little stool, and the man said, "George, I am going to take you to a big zoo in a big city. You will like it there. Now run along and play, but don't get into trouble." George promised to be good, but it is easy for little monkeys to forget. Uh-oh, guys, it looked like George is starting to like the man, right? He's smiling with him, talking with him, laughing with him. But the man did promise him that what? He was going to take him to the zoo? Do you guys think he's going to take him to the zoo? We about to find out. And George also promised him what? To be good. Do you guys really think George is going to be good? Let's find out. On the deck, he found some seagulls. He wondered how they could fly. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but, uh-oh, what is the but? Let's see. Oh, what happened? First this and then this? Where is George? The sailors looked and looked. At last, they saw him struggling in the water and almost all tired out. Uh-oh, guys, it looked like George is not listening already. I don't think he's supposed to be on that water, right? But he found his way down there because he was what? Very curious. Good job. "Man overboard," the sailors cried as they threw him in the life belt. George caught it and held on. At last, he was safe on board. Guys, I don't think George is listening right now. I don't think he's listening because he's not supposed to be in that water. After that, George was more careful to be a good monkey until, at last, the long trip was over. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship onto the shore, and on into the city to the man's house. Let's see what's going to happen after he get off the boat. After a good meal and a good pipe, George felt very tired. Look at Georgia, guys. You see what he have on? Let's see. He crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. He looks very comfy. What do you guys think? He looks very comfy, right? The next morning, the man telephoned the zoo. George watched him. He was fascinated. Then the man went away. George was curious. He wanted to telephone too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What fun! Guys, is Curious George copying what the man does? I think he is. I think he's copying everything he's doing. Is that okay that he's doing that? Is he supposed to be on that chair? Is he supposed to be playing on that phone, guys? Yes or no? No, right? He's not supposed to be on that chair and playing on that phone. That is the wrong thing to do, right? But guess what, guys? George is what? Very curious. Good job. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. George had telephoned the fire station. The fireman rushed to the telephone. Hello, hello, they said, but there was no answer. Then they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from. They didn't know it was George. They thought it was a real fire. Guys, are you supposed to be playing with the telephone and calling a fireman? You're not, right? George did the wrong thing. That was not a good thing for George to do, right? Guys, make sure when you use the telephone for good reasons, okay? And make sure you have permission to use the telephone. What George did was wrong, guys. He should not have called the fire department for no reason. Hurry, hurry, hurry! The fireman jumped onto the fire engines and onto the hook and ladders. Ding dong, ding ding dong! Everyone out the way! Hurry, hurry, hurry! The fireman rushed into the house. They opened the door. No fire? Only a naughty little monkey? Oh, catch him, they cried. George tried to run away. He almost did, but he got caught in a telephone wire and... Uh-oh, guys. Look at George. He made everyone trip at the same time. Is this a nice thing to do, guys? No, it's not, right? It is not a nice thing to do. A thin fireman caught one arm, and a fat fireman caught the other. You fooled the fire department, they said. We will have to shut you up where you can't do any more harm. They took him away and shut him in a prison. Uh-oh, guys. Do you guys feel bad? Who feels bad for George? Raise your hand if you feel bad for George. I kind of feel bad for him. Although he did something wrong, did he deserve to go to the prison, to the police station? I don't know, guys. I think they was being very hard on him, right? They would have just told him to not do it again. But, guys, the fireman was really upset, and they took George to the police station. George wanted to get out. He climbed up to the window to try the bars. Just then, the watchman came in. He got on a wooden bed to catch George, but he was too big and heavy. The bed tipped up. The watchman fell over, and quick as lightning, George ran out through the open door. Uh-oh. Guys, I think George is trying to escape. You guys see him right here trying to escape? Let's see if he's really going to escape. He hurried through the building and out on the roof. And then he was lucky to be a monkey. Out, he walked onto the telephone wires. Quickly and quietly over the guard's head. George walked away. He was free. Guys, he really escaped from the police station. Wow. Down in the street, outside the prison wall, stood a balloon man. A little girl bought a balloon for her brother. George watched. He was curious again. He felt he must have a bright red balloon. So he reached over and tried to help himself. That is not okay what he's doing, right? The balloon is for the little girl. What is George doing? He's trying to take a balloon? Is that nice, guys? That is not nice. You see him right here trying to be sneaky? That is not nice, guys. Instead of one balloon, the whole bunch broke loose. In an instant, the wind whisked them all away. And with them went George, holding tight with both hands. Oh, guys, do you see George in the air with the balloon? And it took him away? Wow, George is very, very curious. Up, up he sailed, higher and higher. The houses looked like toy houses, and the people looked like dolls. George was frightened. He held on very tight. Guys, look at him all the way up in the air right now. Wow, and he's looking down on everyone with the same balloon that he took from that little boy and girl. That is not okay. At first, the wind blew in great gusts, then it quieted. Finally, it stopped blowing altogether. George was very tired. Down, down he went. Bump! Onto the top of a traffic light. Everyone was surprised. The traffic got all mixed up. George didn't know what to do, and then he heard someone call, "George!" He looked down and saw his friend, the man with the big yellow hat. Can you guys spot what a man is with the big yellow hat? Who can spot him? If you could see him, point him out to me, please. Mr. N can't find him. Is this the man with the yellow hat? No, that's a purple hat. Is this the man with the yellow hat? No. Where is he? Oh, I think I see the man with the yellow hat. Does he have a yellow hat? Yes, he does. He's the one that yelled out George. Remember, that's his friend? Let's see if George is going to listen to him and come down. George was very happy. The man was happy too. George slid down the post, and the man with the big yellow hat put him under his arm. Then he paid the balloon man for all the balloons. And then George and the man climbed into the car, and at last, away they went. So as you guys see, the man with the yellow hat saved the day again. He's always saving the day, guys. He helped to pay back for the balloon that George took from that little boy and that little girl, which was a nice thing for the man to do. At the zoo, what a nice place for George to live. Remember, the man said he was going to take him where? You guys remember where? He said he was going to take him to the zoo, and he did take him to the zoo. He made a promise to him. The end. All right, guys. That's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to go ahead and finish that worksheet, okay? And make sure you turn it in. All right, next week, we're going to take another adventure of Curious George, okay? See you guys next week. Bye, guys.